It's pretty common to have life insurance through work. So here's the question. Is that the best approach? Should you have your life insurance through work, or is there a better place to get your life insurance? I've got that and more coming up. My name's Mike Bernard. I'm the host of the Wise Money Show. I'm also one of the certified financial planners right here at Korhorn Financial Group. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and smash that thumbs up button. As a fringe benefit, it's common that you might have some life insurance coverage through your employer. A lot of health insurance companies force employers to add on life insurance, and just, it's a freebie, or it's just sort of baked in, so you're going to offer this. And sometimes other employers, no, they make it an intentional part of the benefit. And it comes in all different shapes and sizes. Sometimes it's a flat amount, 15 grand, 20 grand, 50 grand, something like that, and the employer pays for it. Other times, it's a multiple of income, and the employer may pay for some, but then you pick up the tab for the rest of it. Maybe, and these approaches, what's common is 1 time salary the employer will pay for, but you can buy up and get 2 times salary, 3 times salary, all the way up. Usually, there's a cap at like 9 times salary, something like that, and you have to pay the difference. So different shapes and sizes, but no matter the shape and size, it's always the same flavor. The type of life insurance, for the most part, and I say always, there's some key man and some different flavors out there, but for the most part, the flavor is annually renewable term, where it's term insurance. You're renting the coverage for as long as you pay it, you've got the coverage. But if you stop paying it, or you decide, hey, I don't want this anymore, the life insurance isn't permanent. It doesn't stay with you. There's no cash value. It's temporary insurance. And annually renewable means that as long as you keep paying every year, the policy will keep maturing, but it's not a set, defined term to it. It updates every single year. So is that, even though it's really convenient, and many employers have it, like having convenient life insurance, that's definitely a benefit, right? It's not fun to talk about, but is there a better approach? Is it the right thing to have your insurance through work, or is there a better approach? Well, despite those conveniences, there are a few fundamental disadvantages to having your life insurance through work. There's 4 of them that you've got to assess working with your CFP to say, well, does this disadvantage apply in my situation, or is it still prudent to have my insurance through work? And if these disadvantages really apply to you, then it's going to be best to work with your CFP to get coverage outside of work. The first disadvantage is oftentimes there's no health screening. There's no health analyzers. There's no prove it, I'm healthy enough to get this life insurance. And if you have a health history that has a lot on your record, where you've had surgeries, you've had, maybe you've fought cancer, and you've got some other issues on your medical record, you don't want to go through a health screening. And in that case, yeah, the work life insurance is for you. I had an individual that was in a C-suite role and made a lot of money at a local financial institution, but had beat cancer. And there was no chance that he was going to be able to get life insurance outside of work. And so for him, thankfully, he had the ability to get a multiple of income through his employer. But not only did he max out the multiple of income, but then when he retired, he decided to port and continue that life insurance into retirement, simply because his life expectancy was so short. He took that life insurance with him. But if you're someone that's young and healthy, or young and reasonably healthy, not having to go through a health analyzer to get your health insurance means you might be paying more than you actually should. You could potentially qualify for cheaper health insurance simply by having to go through a health screening. So in one hand, not having the health screening is for work or for employer provided life insurance is beneficial if you've got a spotty health record. But for those of you that are healthy or reasonably healthy, likely you're paying too much by getting just the work policy. And speaking of price, the second fundamental disadvantage is that the price isn't locked in. I told you that the flavor of this life insurance is term insurance. And one of the benefits with term insurance is you often can set it up for 10 years, 15, 20, 30 years. And when you set that length of that term, your price is locked in. Yes, there are clauses where those prices can change, but that rarely happens for 30 years or whatever the term is, you're paying the exact same amount for that life insurance. There's no inflation, it doesn't go up. But with employer provided life insurance or life insurance through work, oftentimes the price either updates every single year or it updates in age bands where, say for example, if you're age 45 to 49, then you're going to be at this price, and if you're age 50 to 54, then you're at this price. So it changes in bands and it's not locked in. The third and fourth disadvantages, though, are really the troublesome areas, and the third is oftentimes what's available in life insurance through work is not enough coverage for what you actually need. And the Jedi mind trick here is you often think, oh gosh, I don't want to think about this. I don't want to talk about this. I'm just assuming that I'm going to live forever. But I know to be responsible, I need life insurance. Oh, my company offers it. It's 1 time my salary. Great. Box checked. I've got life insurance. Rarely, when you do a life insurance needs analysis, which I explained that in a recent video, a life insurance needs analysis to objectively quantify, well, how much life insurance do you actually need? What would things look like? And will they, if you plan it out, will life actually look that way if something happened to you? No. But being proactive and thinking about it will help you take a better approach to the amount of life insurance that you should have. And rarely when you do that analysis does it turn out to be 50 grand or 1 time salary or even 3 times salary. Oftentimes there's a disconnect between how much life insurance you really need and what's available to you through your employer. So oftentimes that's one of the key fundamental disadvantages or flaws with getting life insurance through work. And then the last is what happens to that life insurance when you leave that employer. And as I mentioned with the individual who had beet cancer, and we made the intentional decision of no, when you retire, when you leave that employer, we got to find out what the cost is. We need to keep this insurance with you since his life expectancy was around 5 years into retirement. We did the calculus and said, let's keep it with you. But realistically, you get a job and you're working there for 3-4 years and you're in the middle of your career and you get let go. And all of a sudden you're trying to figure out, well, yeah, okay, they're giving me a couple weeks pay, and I can apply for unemployment, but where's the income going to come from? When you are faced with that financial circumstance and they tell you, this employer who just let you go, hey, do you want to keep your life insurance? You're going to say, no, go pound sand. Or maybe you're unemotional and you're looking at it and saying, well, what's the cost going to be? I'm trying to figure out how to make all this work financially. I'll just have to figure out the life insurance later. In almost all circumstances, when you transition from one employer to the next or from one employer into a period of unemployment, you're not going to bring that life insurance with you. And therefore, you'll have this gap in coverage. And then when you go to your next employer, will they offer the same amount of life insurance at the same price and so on? And so oftentimes it leaves you with exposure. You are unprotected and your risk all of a sudden gets a lot higher. And you might say, yeah, but what are the chances that I would pass away? Well, number one, the chances of you passing away are really low. So odds of happening are low, but financial damage, if it occurred, significant, right? But it's not so much that you would happen to pass away during this little window. But what if you had a health event during that window? And then it became time for you to get life insurance. Maybe you get that next job and they don't have enough insurance. So you say, okay, fine, I'll go out and get term. Now that I've got income coming in, I can get term insurance. But now you've got to answer yes to one of those medical questions and the cost for the insurance is double what it would have been. Or you're rejected, you're declined for coverage because of this health event. Having insurance, life insurance outside of your employer, and then maybe supplementing it with what the employer pays for through work, that's often the better approach. You can, if you're healthy or reasonably healthy, you can go through that health analyzer, that health questionnaire, that underwriting, that's what it's technically called, and get cheaper insurance. You can lock that cost in for the length of the term. You can ensure that the amount that you have stays consistent with the amount that you actually need, and there won't be any gaps in coverage when you change employers. So work with your certified financial planner, see if it's appropriate for you to get some of your life insurance through work or maybe all of it, and maybe these disadvantages don't apply to you much, or if there's a better approach, getting your insurance outside of your employer. Work with your CFP on that. If you don't have a CFP on your team, you can contact one on my team. Find us online, Korhorn.com, that's Korhorn with K, wisemoneyshow.com, you can find us there as well, or send us an email, info@korhorn.com. All right, there you have it. Go out and take your next wise step in your financial life.